Greece is bracing itself for another day of intense heat, with wildfires continuing to rage. The worst affected areas are the islands of Rhodes and Evia, where the fires have been burning for days. On Tuesday, 2 pilots died when their plane crashed as it battled fires on the island of Evia. Our reporter Azadeh Moshiri joins us now from Rhodes. Azadeh, the scars left behind by those wildfires, all too visible there.
Nancy, scars is exactly the right word. I'm here in Mazari, which is a town that was evacuated in southern Rhodes 2 days ago, because remember, that's where these wildfires are concentrated, on the island in the southern part. And people here have moved back. Not everything is working as they thought it was. Some of these businesses and homes are finding they have very little water supply because of the fact that the fires have damaged their resources. I spoke to one local who was saying he is still reeling from what happened. He said everything pretty much works, but this doesn't. That he pointed to his heart and said he's unhappy about what's happened to the locals, the tourists, and he said the trees, because Greece's environment is, of course, very impacted by this heat wave and by these fires. And he was pointing to the hills around him and said these trees will not come back.
And so, Azadeh, has the conversation begun about how to rebuild? Because in some parts of Greece, evacuations are still continuing.
Absolutely, but that conversation has started from the very beginning when I was on the mainland last week, because remember, these fires, Nancy, were happening on the mainland initially last week. Around Athens, there were homes where the civil authority was going around and putting different symbols on them. The house we were seeing at the time got a red triangle. That means it is unlivable and that it must be torn down. Now, they said the government does these things to then understand how much money needs to go into repairing the villages that have been devastated by these fires in these specific localized areas. And for the house I saw, it was declared unlivable, and they had to decide whether they'd rebuild it there or on different land. But of course, in these villages, even the ones that aren't as badly hit, Mazari, a lot of the homes are still intact, and people are still going back to their homes and living in them fairly comfortably. But in these towns as well, you still have firefighting trucks driving through. You still have military cars driving through, and we've had planes flying above us. Because the threat and risk of fires is still high, and every day the fire service has said they're fighting dozens of fires across Greece.
And it's proved to be quite a dangerous thing, isn't it? The firefighters as well are very much at risk.
Yes, Greece's defense minister declared 3 days of national mourning after the death of 2 of these Air Force pilots who were trained in firefighting and yet died as they were responding to a fire on the island of Evia. And it's proven that when the fire service has said people are risking their lives to protect, as officials have said, citizens, property and the environment, these risks were really shown to be true yesterday, and that's why some international support has come out as well. President Emmanuel Macron, for example, France's president, has shared his condolences and paid tribute to all the heroes, he called them, who risked their lives every summer to fight fires around the world.
All right, Azadeh, thank you very much. Azadeh Moshiri joining us there from Rhodes. And for more on this, let's cross live to the BBC Weather Centre and Sarah Keith-Lucas. Sarah, help us understand what we're seeing.
Well, Nancy, I think we have now seen the peak of the heat wave across the Mediterranean and southern parts of Europe too. So yesterday was another day of extreme heat. We had those temperatures from the mid-40s to the high 40s across the likes of Greece, the far south of Italy, towards Sicily as well. But we are seeing an end to this extreme heat wave over the next 24 hours or so. So what we've got at the moment, we've got Mistral winds that are funneling between the Alps and the Massif Central in France. So they're coming down from the north. They're bringing cooler air at the moment into the central Mediterranean. So it's already turned cooler for the likes of Sardinia, although still quite breezy. We've still got the wildfires burning across Sicily as well. But this cooler air is going to start to spread its way through southern Italy towards Greece. For the likes of Rhodes, for instance, temperatures will come down, but not quite yet. So today, these are the sort of temperatures we're expecting. For Sicily, again, where there's some wildfires still burning, 39 degrees, probably not going to quite hit the 40-degree mark there, but still across parts of Greece towards Rhodes, for instance, temperatures are going to be above 40 degrees. So 44 Celsius, possibly 45 for the likes of Larissa or somewhere like that in the east of Greece today. But you can see the extent of these red colours really sitting across the Balkans. So it's the likes of Ukraine, for instance, Romania, Bulgaria, towards Turkey that's seeing the really intense heat holding on for another day. But let's fast forward to tomorrow, and you can see it's not quite the extreme red colours. They're sitting off across central parts of Turkey. So by tomorrow across the region, those temperatures will be back down eventually under 40 degrees. And we've had fairly light winds out there actually as well. Today, lighter winds. They could pick up a little bit tomorrow across the likes of Rhodes, but we are expecting, again, with the breezier conditions, at least a drop in those temperatures. So quite an extreme actual drop in temperatures across parts of the Balkans. So let me take you to Bucharest, for instance. Today, 40 degrees. Tomorrow, a 17-degree drop at about 23 degrees. Now, with the drop in temperature does come some severe storms, particularly across parts of the Balkans. But it does look like for the likes of Rhodes towards Sicily, for the islands in the central parts of the Mediterranean, that those temperatures are coming down and winds should be relatively light as well. So some respite in sight, I think, Nancy, as we head through the next couple of days.
Well, that's definitely good news. Sarah, thank you very much. Sarah Keith Lucas there for us.